Your brain isn't broken. It's just training to chase easy things. That's the hard truth most people avoid. We say we can't focus. We say we're overwhelmed. We blame the world, the apps, the stress, the lack of motivation. Reality is simpler. Our brain is doing exactly what we've trained it to do. It reaches for what feels good now, and it runs from what feels hard. If you've ever set your alarm early, promised yourself you'd wake up, work out, and then hit snooze 3 times, you've felt this. If you've opened TikTok, Instagram, just for 5 minutes, and looked an hour later, you've felt this. If you've told yourself, this week I'm locking in, only to quit 2 weeks later, you've lived this. The problem isn't intelligence, it's conditioning. We've trained our brains to expect constant stimulation, fast rewards, instant relief. So when we sit down to do deep work, study, build a business, have a hard conversation, or stay consistent with a goal, it feels uncomfortable, almost painful. Most people interpret that discomfort as a sign to stop. It's not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're finally doing something that matters. On this channel, Discipline Wins, I talk a lot about this idea. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is built. And your brain adapts to whatever you repeat. Right now, many of us have unknowingly trained our brains for distraction. We wake up and check our phones before our feet touch the floor. We scroll while eating. We watch something while working. We switch tasks every few minutes. We reward ourselves with fast food after promising to eat clean. We avoid difficult conversations because they feel awkward. We skip workouts because we're tired. None of these decisions feel big. Together, they wire your brain for escape. Here's the psychological truth most people don't talk about. Your brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about efficiency and survival. It wants to conserve energy and seek pleasure. So every time you give in to an impulse, you strengthen the pathway that says, when it's hard, avoid it. Over time, that pathway becomes automatic. You don't decide to procrastinate. You just find yourself doing it. I know this because I lived it. I used to sit at my desk, open my laptop to work on something important, and within minutes, I'd feel restless. I'd check notifications. I'd open another tab. I'd tell myself I needed a quick mental break. An hour later, nothing meaningful was done. And then I'd feel guilty. That guilt is heavy. It slowly chips away at your self-trust. You start seeing yourself as someone who can't stay consistent, someone who always falls off. That identity is dangerous, because once you believe you're inconsistent, you act like it. Rewiring your brain for deep focus isn't about hacks, it's about identity. You have to become someone who does hard things without drama, someone who expects discomfort, someone who doesn't negotiate with every feeling. That shift is quiet, it's internal, and it starts small. Deep focus is not a personality trait, it's a trained state. When you remove constant stimulation and force yourself to stay with one task, your brain resists at first. It feels boring, agitated, distracted. That's normal. Your brain is detoxing from easy dopamine. Most people quit at this stage. They think, I just can't focus. But what's really happening is withdrawal from distraction. If you sit through that discomfort without escaping, something changes, slowly. Your mind starts to settle. Noise fades. You enter a different rhythm. Work feels smoother. Time moves differently. But you only reach that state if you don't run. This is where discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation says, I feel like working today. Discipline says, I work whether I feel like it or not. And the brain respects repetition. If every day you show up at the same time, remove distractions, and stay with the task, your brain adapts and stops fighting as hard. Focus becomes less dramatic, less forced. It becomes normal. That's the goal. Not intense bursts of productivity, not 14-hour grind sessions. Consistency over intensity. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you decide to stop scrolling in bed at night. Instead of watching videos until 1 a.m., you put your phone across the room at 10:30. first few nights feel uncomfortable. You're bored. You want stimulation, but you stay with it. After a week, your brain expects to sleep at that time. After a month, it feels natural. The same applies to waking up. If you snooze every morning, you're training your brain to ignore commitments. If you get up when the alarm rings, even when it's uncomfortable, you're building self-control. Small actions, huge impact. Rewiring your brain is less about adding more productivity tools and more about removing easy escapes. Work without background noise sometimes. Eat without scrolling. Sit with your thoughts. Finish tasks before switching. Have a hard conversation instead of avoiding it. Go to the gym even when you don't feel ready. Each time you choose a harder path, you strengthen a new identity. You start seeing yourself as someone reliable. That self-image is powerful. And here's the emotional part most people won't admit. A lot of our distraction is avoidance. We scroll to avoid thinking about the career we're unhappy with. We binge shows to avoid the business we're scared to start. We order fast food because cooking feels like effort. We quit goals after 2 weeks because progress is slow and it hurts our ego. Deep focus forces you to face reality. That's why it's uncomfortable. When you sit in silence and work on one meaningful thing, there's no hiding. You see your weaknesses, your gaps, your fears, but you also see your potential for the first time. And that's where growth begins. Not in hype, not in loud motivation, in quiet, repeated choices. If you want to rewire your brain, start with one promise you keep daily. Just one. It could be 30 minutes of focused work, a daily workout, reading 10 pages, waking up at the same time. Protect that promise like your identity depends on it, because it does. Over time, your brain will associate effort with pride instead of pain. It will associate discipline with self-respect instead of restriction. That's when focus stops feeling forced. You won't need to find motivation. You'll rely on structure, on routine, on standards. And when you fail, and you will sometimes, you won't spiral. You won't say, "I always mess up." You'll own it, adjust, continue. That's mental toughness, not perfection, responsibility. At some point, you'll notice something subtle. You'll wake up and get up without arguing with yourself. You'll sit down to work and start without scrolling first. You'll finish tasks you once avoided. That's rewiring. Not dramatic, not loud, just steady. And the longer you live like that, the clearer your future becomes, because your days are no longer random, they're intentional. If this resonates with you, subscribe, not for motivation, but for reminders that discipline is a skill you build, not a mood you wait for. In the end, your brain will believe whatever you repeatedly show it. Show it distraction, and it will crave chaos. Show it discipline, and it will learn focus. Every day you choose between comfort and growth. Discipline is a daily choice, and ownership shapes your destiny.